Hey, just had a great conversation with Jason Featherby from Lewin Wealth. I'm going to share it with you right now. He is an amazing man from the business perspective, always brings great insight, and looking forward to sharing this conversation with you. So if the rates go up, I know that'll hit our pockets pretty quickly. How much is that likely to impact the average family?
I think the average family, if you've got a $500,000 mortgage, which is probably light on these days, sadly, but it'll be $1,000 a month in a quarter of a percent, so a fair bit.
Okay.
Because that $1,000 a month you've got to find with after-tax money.
Yeah.
So $1,500, $1,800 of your pre-tax pay will have to go towards something you were paying anyway.
Okay.
And there's, some chance there won't be one rate rise. There might be more than one if inflation doesn't quickly come down.
Okay. Let's hope we don't have the recession that we had to have back in.
No. We've had a good run, and we'll talk about that soon. Super returns over the last 3 years have been really good. Which is awesome, but also just a good time to reflect on where your fund is sitting in terms of the risk it's taking, because there's a lot of funds out there called balanced funds. A lot of them are far from balanced, and so if you think you're nicely coasting towards retirement or just retired in particular, and you're in a safe balanced fund, it's really important at what might be the top of a market that you go and have a look at what's under the bonnet.
You brought up that term. For someone who's listening going, well, what is a balanced super fund? What does that term mean?
Well, it means nothing, to be frank.
Okay.
The balanced funds, every super provider has one, but you can call a fund a balanced fund just by calling it a balanced fund. There's no hard and fast rules. So when you think of balanced,
I think 50-50.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's a safe fund to be in.
A balance between growth assets such as shares and property, and safe assets, fixed income bonds, cash. So that's traditionally what I would think of as balanced. Our balanced fund, I guess, internally is sort of 60-40, so still pretty balanced. But most balanced funds, or a lot of balanced funds, hold 75% of your money or more in shares or growth assets, which isn't exactly balanced.
Okay.
So it looks really good when your balanced fund, in inverted commas, returns 11 or 12%. But you need to understand what risk you take. If you're in your 30s and 40s, it doesn't matter so much. If you're closing in on retirement, or you've just started drawing a pension from your super, and we have a downturn, which we will at some point, and you think you're safe, you might have to think again. And I guess those of us that were around at the time, the global financial crisis taught us some real lessons about risk and carrying risk into retirement. Yeah, no, very much so. When it comes to that finding balance in a fund, you said some funds might be 50-50, 60-40, 70-30 or thereabouts. Why is it that the different supers will have that range? I guess it's up to their investment managers as to what they want to invest in. A lot of industry funds, by definition, have more exposure to risky assets because they invest in large property and infrastructure projects around the place, and they fall into the high risk category. So they tend to have a higher weighting to growth assets, and therefore carry higher risk into volatile markets. If you can hand pick your strategy, or you get some advice on it, a balanced fund will be more 50-50 or 60-40 in favour of growth assets. So we need growth, but when we're getting a little older, we also need that stability provided by the safer part of the portfolio. I think this is really important for the Sunshine family. And I'll sort of add this comment for me. We were talking, and when I first signed up for super, I think I had 3 or 4 funds, and you would have been normal, and lost all the money. It was fees just ate it all up. They used to be able to eat it all up, and so I've always been. Super will never be there for me when I need it. It'll never. These days I think a little bit differently. But I'm glad to hear that. I kind of just tick the high risk box and let it fly. Away it goes. Let it go. And I've seen some good returns over the years, but
I think when it comes to super, how many of us actually know what the super fund is doing? And when it comes to like returns of expectations and when does it get dangerous and all those things?
Yeah, well, it gets dangerous when we get a little older because we don't have as much time to recover from a significant market event.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's one around the corner. There might be, but there might not. But either way, it's the right thing to do as you get a little older to take a little bit less risk, take your foot off the accelerator a little bit. And we often see people come in and go, well, my balance fund made 10%.
Yeah.
And this balance fund only made 8%, for example. That's okay if both balance funds have got exactly the same or similar underlying asset mixes. If one's got 80% in shares or growth assets and one's got 50, I'll take the 8 because the risk-adjusted return is better on the 8% one than the 10. You're taking far more risk or far too much risk for the extra 2%.
Yeah.
So when we compare funds, don't be fooled by the name of the fund. You've got to look one step below to the actual asset allocation. What makes up your fund?
Yeah.
If it's a safer fund producing the same returns, well, that's a better fund. So that's, I guess, something that we fall for regularly, and marketing is a marketing, and you can say the best performing balance fund in Australia.
Yeah.
That's all well and good, but how much risk is it taking compared with what you are willing to take or willing to accept?
Okay.
So that's something that you need to be really mindful of. And the other thing I've touched on, I guess, a couple of times already is have you heard of sequencing risk?
No.
Well, not many people have. It's the risk that you retire and a significant market event happens.
Okay.
It's sequencing. So as you get older, and closer to drawing on your fund, the impact of a market correction is far greater than if you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
So the sequencing of things is important. And sequencing risk is the risk that you retire and then immediately something bad happens.
Okay.
So to get around that, you have to have an understanding of where is your money.
Yeah.
Don't just understand your balance and that it's called a balanced fund. Understand exactly where your money is invested. And if you look at your under the bonnet and see 85% in growth assets in a balanced fund, you need to get some advice or move it around yourself, because if and when, actually not if, when the next market correction happens, you don't want to be going back to work because you've just been
lost it.
Yeah, misled by a name. So, it's up to us to be responsible for our own destiny, I guess, and take a little bit less risk as you get closer to retirement.
Okay, so let's just break that down for a second. If I'm sitting here listening and going, I really like what Doug and Jason are saying, I need to look at this. Is it just a matter of going to your super fund? Is it looking at what's out there in the market? Is it sitting down with a financial advisor? Like, what's the best way to do this?
Yeah, well, the best way is to start. Yep, definitely. So next time you get your super statement, or if you're driven to log in today, log in, look at your super pie chart and go one step below and say, well, hang on, how much percent have I got in shares, property, international shares, infrastructure, things that go up or down, versus how much have I got in cash and fixed income. And if it's relatively balanced, or if it's not balanced and you're happy with it, fine, but get an understanding of it. In terms of comparison, have a look at your return and compare it against the average return. And you can get that from any of the comparison websites. What's the average fund done? And then, have I taken more or less risk than the average fund, and am I getting more or less return than the average fund? It's far easier to go get advice from an advisor, but do some homework yourself. At the very least, don't be ignorant of where your money is. There is a rule of thumb that for every decade you are old, that's how much you should have in safe assets. So Glenn, we can assume, is 25% growth, 75% cash. I would be more 40% growth, 60% fixed income and cash, not just cash, because cash doesn't return, doesn't grow. But what we're talking about is along these lines. As you get older, have a look at your fund, take a bit of risk off the table, and then when the inevitable does happen, you don't get beaten up so badly.
Okay, so just as we start to wrap this up, what's the, if someone was wanting to start to work this out for themselves? Is it just, like you said before, start to have a look at it? Is it contact their super? Is it just do the research? Like, how do they do that?
I'd do your own research first. Contact your super. Have a look at what your return is and what risk you're taking. So how much percentage of your assets, super assets, are held in growth assets? And then, so print that out or note that down, and then go to a comparison website. ASIC has a good one called Money Smart. It'll have average balanced fund returns and average balanced fund allocations. So if your return is exactly the same as the average, that's good. But if you are taking, if you've got 80% in growth assets and the average is 60, that's bad. So if there's any badness, go and get some advice on how to just sort it out. And it may be as easy as a quick phone call. If you're paying for advice already, then make an appointment and say, I'm a bit worried about this. You may well find that it's the perfect time to have a look now.
And thanks for watching this video. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, do all those good things, share with a friend who might get something out of it, and I'll catch you in the next video.